Problem 3 requires to estimate the construction costs, direct cost only, national average. What is direct costs? See the just previous lesson video explain that of the footing concrete. And this footing concrete, we did the quantity take-up in problem 1. If you recall, go to the previous lesson video, we have that problem 1 in here with the same image, just add more rebar in this problem 3. And the rebar for the above footing, brief specification as follows. Formwork E chop built lumber for use. Reinforced concrete A615 grade 60 uncoated. Concrete is 4000 psi. Ready mix and placed by pumping. So the method, it will determine, construction method also determine the pricing. Allowable waste, spillage and shrinkage for concrete is 5%. What will be the cost if it built in Fort Myers, Florida? So that is the problems. As you can see, to estimate the cost, 2 components we need to determine. The first is the quantity, and the second one is the unit costs. In this video, we focus on the quantity, and then the next part of this next video, we will go over the unit cost and the total cost of the question asked in this problem 3. So let's talk about the quantity first. And they ask us the footing concrete, including the formwork, and the rebar. So rebar is the red show here. Number 6 rebar at 8-inch OC. OC is on center. So interval each way. We have 2 ways for the footing, and that each way have that number 6 rebar 8-inch on center. So concrete, for concrete, we need to determine the concrete and the formwork to set up so that we can place the concrete on, because concrete is at fresh, is fluid, we have to have some form of formwork. We will explain that in a minute, but let's talk about the quantity first. And the first one is we want to determine the concrete of the footing. And yes, we can use the problem 1 we already did, 123 cubic yard, and we add the waste at the problem give us, because that during the transportation, shrinkage, spillage, etc., it have some waste, and in this case the problem give us 5%, so you can use that one. In the reference that I will show later on, it also have the waste. If the problem don't give us, then you go to the reference, it's exam1 reference, as you can see here, go down to the bottom of page 2, and typical quantity adjustment for waste, spillage, etc. So for different type of material, concrete 7%, if you can pick that, or the problem give you 5%, then pick 5%, and that we need to consider. And the other one is we talking about in this problem that in number 6 rebar, so that number 6 is the size, bar size, number 6, so can be able to determine the weight, pounds per foot. For example, number 6, 1.502 pounds per linear foot of the rebar number 6, and the bar diameter is 0.75 inch. And similar for other, you can use the reference at the bottom of the page of exam1 reference to determine the weight for the rebar. We will get on that. The footing concrete, as you can see, we add 5% waste at recommend from the problem here, 5%. So from that we can have the and V of the footing concrete. In this case, already adjust, that is 123 cubic yard. That from problem 1 of today class, and then we time waste 5%, 1.05. So you get 129 cubic yard. So that is the concrete we need to order, and that should be priced accordingly. The next components is formwork. What is that about? So as you can see here, so this is the slab, and the formwork, basically the wooden part that you can see there, the wooden part there, so it will be go the surrounding for the footing, or for the slab it goes surrounding area of the footing or the slab. So it basically to determine by the areas, the perimeter and the height of the formwork that contact with the concrete. Or if the goal, you can see that one here, the yellow, the wooden yellow in there, that basically the formwork. After the concrete gain strength, we can remove that formwork out, and it measured by the square foot contact areas. So regardless of how you set up it, they also only count the contact with the concrete. I show you the project did in Homso, the construction method lab next to Homso, back in lot 1, as you can see here. So you have here the formwork, but we don't calculate the extra height in here, only contact with the concrete, the fresh concrete, that we got square foot contact areas. And that what ISMIN determine the cost that we will talk in the next portion of these problems. So formwork, it measured by the contact area. Contact areas, and as I mentioned, the areas for the formwork, contact area is equal to perimeter times the height. So the perimeter for the footing, so you can have both sides, it's rectangle, so it will be 16 one side, 26 the other side for the concrete footing. So we have 16 inch plus 26 inch feet, 16 feet plus 26 feet times 2. So that is the perimeter. Meter of the footing. And then we continue to time the height. And the height here, the contact area will be 8 foot. And that is the height of footing. From that one, we can determine this equal to perimeter is the whole thing for the rectangle, both sides times 2. And that we will get 672 square foot contact areas. So that stands for square feet contact area. So it only consider the contact with the concrete in matter. So that is the formwork. They also ask us to determine the rebar. So that is a little bit tricky in here. So let's talking about the rebar or reinforcement. Rebar reinforcement in here for footing. So there are two sides, as you can see here. One side go perpendicular to our screen, and the other side, which is this one, and then the other one underneath it go parallel on the side of our screen, right? So that there are two, and if we can put that down here, we can determine the length, and then we can be able to determine the weight. First, we need to find out the length. So how it's set up, if you go to just see the typical setup for the rebar, as you can see. So to find out the total length, we need to have the length for one side, count how many of them, and one side, one of them is what is the linear feet for one of them, and time how many, and then the other side we did exactly the same. So with that, we can go back to here in terms of the length. Number 6, rebar length. So we have 2. So let me draw out that 2. Just a representative. It not by no means it represent the number on here. So one side, and the other side we have here the number is not exact. So the we have 2. This go on the side 16 feet for one side, and the other side 26. Everyone see that? Then we can have for the land with 26 within the horizontal bar, we have the land is 26 feet time the number. How many number I need? Then if the on center in this case is 8 inches on center, what does that mean? That it here is etc. It 8, 8, 8. Similarly for each way, so that it will be 8, 8, etc. 8, 8. So how can I determine the number? Then each of them, and then time the length for each. So the length for each is 26 for the horizontal one. Then we send how many number? How can I determine the number? Then it will be, if it's 26, the horizontal, it will be spread vertical in that finger that I show you. So it will be equal to 16 feet divided by the interval 8 inches. And because 8 inches the unit, so you have to time 12 inch per foot. Okay, and then we have to plus one on the other end. So it's not 16 times 12 divided by 8, but you have to plus 1. Why is that? I give you example. If you in your driveway, your driveway have let's see 50 feet long, and you want to plant the palm on center 10 feet interval. Then how many palm you need for one side? You will need not 10. You have let me say it again. If you have a palm at the driveway 50 feet, and you want to plant palm on one side with 10 feet interval, how many palm do you need? You will not say 50 feet divided by 10. I need 5 palms, but it on one end, so you have to add one more. It needs 6 palms. So that way we put always add 1 in there. So up here, 16 times 12 divided by 8. So you have 1 times 26, whatever number we have, the total is 650 feet. Okay, 16 divided by 12 times 1. You can be able to find out that number. And then we have 16, the other side. The other side, we have 16 feet. So the vertical bar, 16 times, then the other side, 26 divided by 8 on center. And we have to time 12 for the unit conversion. plus 1, and that you will get 640 feet. And of course, you have to round up how many bars we need. For example, here 16 times 12 divided by 8 plus 1. So we get 16 times 12 divided by 8 plus 1. So that is 25. 25 for the top one, for example. So we have to find out that number. And then now we already know the for each side how many linear feet I need. So you add them up and time the weight. Okay, so from that we can have the number 6 rebar weight. So how can we find out? Of course, we can add the linear feet first. Total, so we have 650 plus 640, and that equal to 1290 linear feet. And then change it to weight, because the cost, unit cost that you will see in the next video, determined by the how many ton we need, how much we need to pay for 1 ton of the rebar, so that we have to transfer to ton at the end. So it will be 1290 times, if you go to the reference, and we have the reinforcement and the number 6 here for this rebar, and that weight is 1.502 pound per foot, as you can see there. So go back to here, why number 6? They give us here number 6 rebar. So you go to the reference, you can be able to find out, and that is 1.502 pounds per linear foot, and that I make a note here. This will be the reference. So that we can refer to you when you read that. So from that we can have the weight is 1938 pounds, and we want ton, so you have 1938 pounds divided by 2000 pound per ton, so you will get 0.969 ton. And we consider for waste, so let's add. You can add some percentage. If you are not sure which one, you can add here reinforcement 10%, right? For the page 2 of the exam reference again, and then you have that add waste for 10%. Then we can have the total of the footing. The rebar for the footing is 0.969 times 1.1, it equal to 1.07 ton. And then we will check for the this is quantity, check for the next video for the cost. So cost component, refer to the Excel form, and of course the next video.